Did you know there's a monument commemorating 21 German men who died while interred at Fort Douglas during World War I? I didn't either. Let me tell you about this little piece of history while at the same time I show you the graveyard and Fort Douglas's beautiful architecture. During World War I, Fort Douglas, in the foothills of Salt Lake City, Utah, served as a key internment site for German prisoners of war, also known as POWs, and civilian enemy aliens, German nationals residing in the U.S. deemed potential threats under the 1917 Trading with the Enemy Act. The internment camp, which I would also consider a prisoner camp today, is covered by buildings in the University of Utah's Research Park, was established in 1917, initially housed captured German sailors, primarily from the SMS Cormoran, which was interned at Guam, and the SMS Geier seized in Hawaii, totaling around 406 POWs by 1918. It later shifted to focus on enemy aliens after the naval POWs were transferred to Georgia in March 1918. Conditions were harsh: overcrowding, poor sanitation, inadequate medical care, and the 1918 influenza pandemic contributed to a high mortality rate. Of the roughly 500 to 600 internees, 21 Germans died between 1917 and 1918, all buried in the Fort Douglas Post Cemetery, now the Fort Douglas Military Cemetery. Notably, only 2 were actual POWs. The other 19 were civilian enemy aliens arrested in the western U.S. These deaths were not from combat but from disease, especially influenza and pneumonia, malnutrition, accidents, and suspected neglect or mistreatment. The prisoner camp faced scrutiny from Swiss legation inspectors who filed complaints about food shortages and medical delays, but little changed amid wartime strains. Many victims were young professionals or skilled workers who had integrated into American society before the war, highlighting the personal tragedies of wartime on the home front. Their names are inscribed on the German War Memorial that was dedicated in 1933 by German-American groups and the American Legion of Utah. It was restored in 1988 by the German War Graves Commission. The monument honors them as victims of war and now includes World War II dead while in captivity at the camp. Let me list for you those on the monument from World War I and give you their age and what they died from, except for the first on the list, who died in 1917. All the rest died in 1918. Number 1, Stanislaus Lewitski, approximately 30 years old, died in June 1917. He was an actual prisoner of war, a German sailor from the SMS Cormoran, and succumbed to illness and received a burial with full military honors. Next, Henry L. Zinnel, age 29, died on June 1, 1918. He was an enemy alien whose death was attributed to acute gastritis, possibly linked to poisoning, after his weight plummeted from 180 to 90 pounds. His body was reportedly transported to burial in a garbage wagon as a final indignity. Frank Stadler was of unknown age. He was an enemy alien who perished from influenza-related complications during the devastating pandemic that swept through the camp. Arthur Ruebe, age 44, died on December 22nd. He was an enemy alien who suffered from bronchopneumonia following influenza, enduring 19 days of illness under the care of Camp Dr. William F. Beer. Carl G.W. Blaze, age unknown, was an enemy alien who fell victim to pneumonia amid the influenza outbreak. Eric Laveman, age unknown, was an enemy alien whose death was caused by illness exacerbated by the flu pandemic raging through the internment facilities. Friedrich O. Humph, age unknown, was an enemy alien who died from a respiratory disease, likely tied to the widespread influenza infections. Walter J. Piezarek, age unknown, was an enemy alien who succumbed to complications from the flu. Emil Lashka, age unknown, was an enemy alien whose cause of death was listed simply as illness in the shadow of the camp's inadequate medical resources. Georg Schmidt, age unknown, was an enemy alien who died from pneumonia during the height of the pandemic. Charles Morth, age unknown, was an enemy alien overtaken by influenza. Roko Zilko, age unknown, was an enemy alien, possibly of Croatian-German heritage, who perished from flu-related causes. Felix Baer, age unknown, was an enemy alien who died from disease amid the camp's overcrowding and poor sanitation. Maximilian Kampmann, age 29, died on November 26, 1918. He was an enemy alien, a respected Utah psychopathologist who had worked locally since 1916, and he succumbed to pneumonia after just 3 days and influenza after 6. Joseph Fakola, age unknown, was an enemy alien whose death resulted from illness during the flu crisis. Herman Leader, age unknown, was an enemy alien and a victim of the influenza pandemic. Frank Bennis, age unknown, was an enemy alien who died from respiratory failure. Max Leopold, age unknown, died on November 25, 1918. He was an enemy alien who passed away at the camp hospital and was buried the same day. Adolf Wackenhusen, age unknown, was an enemy alien who perished from pneumonia. Hermann German, age unknown, was an enemy alien whose listed cause of death was illness, compounded by the camp's harsh conditions. And finally, we have Walter Topf, age unknown, was an actual prisoner of war, a German sailor, and died of an unspecified disease. These men represent a mix of military sailors and civilians uprooted from lives in the U.S. West, for example, Kampmann from Utah. The flu pandemic alone claimed many, as the camp lacked isolation facilities. Annual commemorations, like Volkstrauertag, the German Day of Mourning, continue at the cemetery to this day. While the 21 specifically refers to World War I deaths, Fort Douglas also buried 20 German World War II POWs. This is out of an estimated 15,000 held in Utah camps, mostly from natural causes, accidents, or the 1945 Salina Massacre, where 9 German POWs were killed by a deranged U.S. Guard. Private Clarence Bertucci, who fired a machine gun into several tents with no concern of the results. He was later deemed insane. So, with the total German burials determined to be 40 the cemetery preserves this history through the museum and memorials, underscoring Utah's overlooked role in POW internment. Well, that's what I've gathered for you on this obscure piece of history. If I knew at the time my visit to Fort Douglas would have so much history to cover, I would have taken far more video. Oh well, I'll be back there soon enough. To see more videos like this one, please subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up button. And again, until next time, cheers.